Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in this class on Shri Suktam. Unfortunately, due to various circumstances, we could not have the class on Friday. Okay, so here we are on Monday, and we'll be having this week's class in the usual time of Friday. Okay, but then before we begin, let's start with the Shanti mantra of the Upanishads. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanao Bhunakatu, Sah Viryankaravavahai, Tejasvinadadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. So, in the last class, we looked at how the 15 verses, each of the 15 verses of Shri Suktam is about eradicating your deep-rooted afflictions of poverty, and how you can use it to overcome self-destructive habits and behaviors like fear or doubt or anger or self-pity or your inability to let go of painful memories. Okay. And we also saw how the Shri Suktam practice can be a gateway to inherit that treasury of divine providence, which is buried underneath our own bodies and minds. Okay. So proceeding further, today we will be looking at how, we will be looking at the other keys to unlock the unimaginable power of Shri Suktam. Okay. And one of the keys to, to unlock this huge power that is inherent in this Vedic verse is that we have to constantly remember that there is an omniscient reality. Okay. We need to have a constant awareness of that omniscient reality. Now, you may believe in a God which is formless or a God which has a form, but the Vedas, they require us to, to know that there is a God rather than believing that there is some sort of, divine source that is responsible for everything that is happening in the universe. Okay. So, the Vedas tell us that we are timeless. Okay. But then, because we are timeless, we have to acknowledge that the divine source was always here before we were born in this incarnation or in this avatar, and it will remain even after we are gone. Okay. So human beings by nature are very intelligent, but with regards to our birth and existence in this world, our intelligence is almost amount to nothing. Okay. We know nothing about how and why we were conceived, what imbued the fetus with feelings, who guided the development of our organs and limbs, and who provided us with the initial impetus to breathe. Okay, we don't know who is the keeper of our intelligence. We do not know how does the brain get all its power to train our physiology to comprehend and execute its intentions. We do not know how and when the lessons that we learned from our past experiences return as we need them and when we need them. We do not know the source of our enthusiasm, our courage, our ambition, our willpower, our determination, and the power of discernment. Okay. We do not know, we do not know what makes us believe that we can know the unknown and take our worldly as well as spiritual quest to new heights. Okay. And since we do not know, the first thing is to accept that we do not know. Okay. We have to accept that we do not know where all this comes from. Okay. And, there are three magical words to make the, to make the universe open up to us. Okay. And those three magic words are I don't know. Okay. The moment you say I don't know, the world opens up for you. All right. And this is, this is the number one reason why we don't learn new things, or, why we don't try to make an effort to understand how the universe works, is because you know, we are bound to that ego which already knows everything, right? Just try to teach multiplication tables to a fifth grader, and he or she will say, I know that, right? So that is the ego of the child coming in. But as adults, we have greater egos. We try to live in our comfort zone, and if anything new comes by, we tend to dismiss it, saying that I know about it, right? And this is a very severe problem, especially for those who are born in India. You try to start a business and then seek your parents' opinion, but your parents may have never done a business in their entire life, but they will advise you against doing a business. Why? Because they know that the business will not work. Okay. Similarly, you are asked to do something new, you are asked to learn something new, and then you will find a way to reject that learning, to reject that path that you are asked to take. Why? Because you already know that it's not going to work for you. Okay. So I know everything is the greatest enemy of yours that you have. And the easiest way to, to learn things, new things, is to tell yourself, I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Because if you look at it, nature never repeats herself. Okay. Nature never repeats itself. Shakti is always playful. She is the most playful one. She never repeats herself. No two tigers will have the same spot. No two human beings will have the same fingerprint. No two leaves will have the same, same lines. Why? Because nature is always creating new things. So if we make ourselves stuck with the, with the intention of I know everything, or I know this, or I know that, then we are actually closing ourselves to receive the grace of the universe. In yesterday's class, whoever attended the jyotish class, I told you that the fifth house is about receiving the grace, and it is us who try to, push that grace away from us. Grace, there is a rainfall of grace happening every moment, but we being we push that grace away from us, because we know everything. Okay, we seem to know everything, but that is the real enemy of learning. Okay. So since we don't know, how, and you don't know the answer to these questions that I mentioned just a few minutes ago, so we have to acknowledge that there is a reality that guides our birth. Okay. That initiates breeding, that establishes a relationship between the heart and brain, that executes the complex functions of our organs and limbs, that infuses our heart with feelings, and that empowers our mind to stretch its capacity and intuit what lies beyond our senses. And for the Hindus, the most familiar word for that reality is Ishvara. Okay, is Ishvara, right? And it actually comes from the word Isha. But Shri Suktam, it calls this reality as Jata Vedas. Okay, Jata Vedas. There is a misconception that Jata Vedas is, the word Jata Vedas refers to Agni. Okay, but in reality, Jata Vedas, it means the one who knows everything about those who were born and everything ever created. Okay, so in other words, Jata Vedas is the omniscient being. And being omniscient, it is beingless and endless. It pervades and permeates the world, which is made of and governed by time and space. Okay, so we've gotten a new word for God. Okay, Sanskrit does not have a word for God. The closest word is Ishvara, but Ishvara is not a God with physical attributes, right? So we've gotten a new word for God. You can call God as Jata Vedas. Okay, just like the Muslims call it as Allah, the Christians call it as God, right? So we can call God as Jata Vedas. Okay. So this Jata Vedas is the container of the forces that execute the law of karma, right? Why we are born, what we need to live, and why and when we must die, or should we must die, are fully known to the Jata Vedas. That means to the omniscient being. And that omniscient being also knows what we need to live a fulfilling life, gather inner wealth, and return after death with greater wisdom and capacity for an even more fulfilling life the next time. Okay. So this Jata Vedas, or the omniscient being, is at the core of Shri Suktam. Okay. And all the 15 mantras directly invoke Jata Vedas and request this omniscient being to bring the goddess of inner prosperity to us. That means it requests the Jata Vedas to bring us Lakshmi or to carry us to her. Okay. And according to, according to all the schools of Tantra, Sri Vidya is the epitome of absolute beauty and joy. Okay. She is Sri Mata, right? And the foundation of highest goodness and auspiciousness. She is Sri Maharajini, who is the paramount queen of beatitude. She is Tripura, who is the presiding deity of the triple world. Okay, what is the triple world? The world of dreaming, the world of awakening, and the world of deep sleep. That means of earth, heaven, and the realm in between. Tripura is our very core and the core of the universe. And she is subtler than the subtlest and grosser than the grossest. And she is beyond the reach of our thought, speech, and action. And as human beings, we can become aware of this nameless, formless, transcendental divinity only when she assumes a name and form that is compatible with the perceiving power of our mind and senses. Okay, so to manifest, to become aware of this unmanifest reality and make it into a manifest reality, we have the power of Shri Sukta. Okay, the Shri Sukta is vested with the power to make this unmanifest reality manifest. And the holy verses of Shri Sukta, they command this power for two reasons. Okay. The first reason being, it provides the initial spark for the transcendent goddess of abundance and beatitude to become immanent by tapping into the primordial pool of the all-knowing, omniscient being, which is, of course, Jata Vedas. And next, secondly, Shri Suktam upgrades the quality of our mind and senses so that we can comprehend and embrace the goddess of abundance and beatitude, filling our life and our inner and outer worlds. Okay, and how does it do it? It does this by invoking the guiding and nourishing power of Jata Vedas, which is inherent in every nook and corner of our being. Okay, so the relationship between Jata Vedas and Sri Vidya is like that of fire and its radiance. Okay, so Jata Vedas can be considered to be the sacred fire or Agni, and Sri Vidya is considered to be its radiance. Okay, so radiance is intrinsic to fire. For example, the sun is a gigantic fireball, and certain properties of the sun's radiance are healthy for us and certain others are not. So the radiance of the sun is pleasant at certain latitudes and almost unbearable at others. We know that while even staying in the same country, isn't it? We don't have to go to a certain latitude, right? Some forms of life, they thrive in the bright sun, while others thrive where the sun's radiance is shaded. Okay, and the sun is actually a fireball, and this fireball remains the same, but the various shades of its radiance have different effects. Okay, so it just like similar to that, the Jata Vedas also has the same case. Okay, and Jata Vedas is the sacred fire or Agni, and its radiance is Sri Vidya. Okay, so Jata Vedas is spontaneously and constantly emitting, numerous rays of omniscience, and it is the unique shade of omniscience that awakens and nourishes the conditions in which our inner prosperity or inner peace and feelings of fulfillment thrive. Okay, and this unique shade of omniscience, as I said, is known as Lakshmi or simply Shri. Okay, and the practice of Shri Suktam it invokes the Jata Vedas and requests it to shine that unique shade of omniscience on us, or to transport us to the realm lit by that specific radiance. Okay, so any questions still here? Do you have any questions? Some people are unable to join. I think there was a network issue on their side, Twinkleji. I have allowed everyone to come in. I've allowed everyone to come in. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Kushagraji. Tell me.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm listening. I can hear you.
Sir, good evening. First of all, sir, I've been reading Shri Sukta in the past because of this family thing of Purus Sukta, Shri Sukta, and Atharva Shesha and everything. There is a particular verse, Sama Avaha Jata Vedo Lakshmi Manapaga Gamini. So, can you please explain the chronology that you just said that Jata Veda is basically fire, but it's connected to Shri Sukta in Devi Lalita's form. Earlier,
Yeah.
what all I knew is Shri Sukta is basically only set for Devi Lakshmi. Of course, before knowledge of Tantra, of Shri Kula, Kali Kula, or Kuru Kula Kula, or all these things, I just knew that this is a proper respect, means request to Lakshmi to bless our house in abundance. That's
Right.
all I knew. So, but how this radiance and then this particular line of the phrase is connected? Can you
Yeah,
please
we
explain
will
me that?
we will be going to all the phrases in details. Okay, we have not yet reached the phrases. We're
Oh,
just
okay.
yeah,
So,
we're just testing the waters. Okay. So I
okay.
think this is the third class. Okay, this is the third
Yeah.
class.
This is the third class.
So
This is the
yeah,
third class.
so by the fifth class, I think we'll be reaching the phrases. Okay, and I'll be
So
explaining every. Yeah, I
that is
completely
why
get
you
it.
said no. You said Jata Vedo Mahavaha
Yeah,
means that is. I'm not a very eminent scholar of Sanskrit, but thanks to my mother that I'm able to learn many stotras of this prominent importance in the early stages. I
right.
was just wondering about what this connection is particularly with that particular verse. Okay, whatever. I'm very sorry for disturbing in between.
No,
I'm
it's
real
fine,
my
it's fine.
question.
For the moment, just know that Jatavedas Agni is the seer of all mantras. Okay, including the
Okay,
mantras of Sri Sukta. So
okay, fine.
it's Sri Sukta is all about forming a personal bond with the Jatavedas. Okay,
Okay,
and see,
thank
I'm
you.
not using the word Agni here. I'm just using the word Jatavedas.
Jata Vedas, yeah, we have
Yeah,
to keep certain things in mind before we
yeah,
actually go into the deep secrets that are to be known and there to connect with.
yeah. I'm not asked.
Please just repeat all these things whenever you teach the phrases so that everyone will be able to strike upon their own hand.
Yeah.
ये ऐसा बोला था.
Anyways, the recordings will be available. So that's fine. I'll
Thank you.
when
I
I
won't take more time.
yeah when I when I explain the lessons, I'll just ask you to refer to this particular class. So maybe you can have this class ready when we take a deep dive into the into the phrases.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I will just
Yeah,
mute myself. Okay.
yeah. All right. So we can proceed. Right. Just hold on, guys. I'm just facing a few problems with my video. It's stopping at my end. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, an understanding of the of the omniscience of the divine being, that is Jata Vedas, is the foundation for the practice of Sri Sukta. And this understanding, once we have this understanding, see, before having a knowing, we need to have an understanding. Okay, and once we understand this, and once this understanding fills our mind and heart, we also know with conviction that there is a higher reality that is that is watching over us. Okay, and every aspect of our body and mind and the world around us is pervaded by the omniscience of this divine being. Okay, and in my opinion, it is Lakshmi who creates a sense of separation that makes us see ourselves as separate from everything around us. Okay, but in reality, those who have experienced reality even by using drugs like LSD, they would say that everything is connected. Okay, if you have come across someone who has sought those higher experiences just by using drugs like LSD, please ask them, how does it look once you have consumed that LSD? They'll say that everything is the same, everything is connected. I'm connected to everything. It is a feeling that the world emanates from us. Okay. And, after the practices, as this understanding matures into constant awareness, we no longer seek assurance from outside because we have found this, this assurance within us. Okay. And what does this do? It creates that faith in ourselves and in our inner companion, which is, of course, the Jata Vedas. Okay. So this faith that we acquire by, by reading the Shri Sukta in a very specific way, it sheds a new light, not only on the verse, but also in its relationship with each one of us. Okay. And as a result, what happens is each mantra, each of the 15 verses, it becomes a conduit for our interaction with the Jata Vedas. Okay. And as I said, Jata Vedas is the Agni, and Sri Lakshmi is the radiance of that Agni. Okay. So once each mantra becomes a conduit for our interaction, we can communicate with Jata Vedas as well as with Sri Lakshmi, just like we communicate and interact with our loved ones. Okay. And while doing that, we are filled with confidence that the omniscient being, which is Jata Vedas, is fully aware of our intent. And there is no need to look for a sign of a response. This is known in Sanskrit as pratyaksh praman. If you're doing something, you must have a proof of it. Okay. So once you go beyond looking for proofs, once you go beyond that stage of pratyaksha pramana, okay, it is known as pratyaksha pramana for those who are not familiar with Sanskrit. That means the proof of whatever you are trying to do. Okay, so once you go beyond, right, you go beyond when you know that there is always this interaction between Jata Vedas and Sri Lakshmi that you can have. And once you go beyond this pratyaksha pramana stage, you have actually mastered this Shri Sukta. Okay, and as Patanjali tells us in his Yoga Sutras, that faith breathes life into all our practices. Okay, so faith is very important. You cannot define faith. Okay, you can define trust, but you cannot define faith. Okay, faith is just like that invisible rope where you hang for dear life, but then in reality, you know that there is no rope. You're just you're just hanging by your conviction. Okay, so faith is something that you cannot define. All right. Belief is something that you can define, but faith is something that you cannot define. And the Yoga Sutra, it particularly puts an emphasis on faith, saying that faith breathes life into our practices. Faith compels us to do our practice sincerely and vigorously. And, any practice that is grounded in faith, and once you ground something in faith, you will also have a lot of sincerity. You will also have a lot of vigor associated with that practice. So such a practice will always awaken our latent power. Okay. And not only our latent power, our retentive power. Okay. And what is retentive power? It is the force that keeps the importance of our practice in the forefront of our mind. Okay. That means, if your retentive power is fully awakened, you'll be aware of your practice even when you are not actually engaged in it. All right. And once you have a conscious reinforcement of the practice and its importance, it is going to ward off all disturbances or distractions or laziness, related to it, and it will lead the mind to a state of stillness. Okay. And this in turn will release the fountain of intuitive wisdom that transforms our intellectual understanding of this omniscient being into feeling. And then this feeling matures into constant awareness. Okay. And awareness of what? Awareness of our own ever awake inner friend. Okay. We mature enough to realize that it is with us during our practice and at all other times. Okay, and it is in the presence of this invisible friend, or it is in the presence of this invisible awareness. Obstacles have no power to come close to us. We move beyond obstacles. Okay, and once we move beyond obstacles, we will find that we will have all the resources that are conducive to a to a very successful practice. Okay, so in the next class we'll be speaking about how to form a personal bond with the seers of Shri Sukta. That means how to form a personal bond with the Jata Vedas. And from the 5th class, we will be taking a deep dive into the verses of Shri Sukta, starting from verse number 1 till verse number 15. Okay. So any more questions from this part? Okay, great. All right then. Thank you so much for joining. There are a few changes in the itinerary of Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Yet again, okay, so I thought I'll be keeping it on Sunday, but Sunday is not conducive for me because we have the Jyotish Foundation class. So we'll have it on Saturday around 7 o'clock. Okay, for those who have joined, I'll inform in the group. And if anyone wants to join the Satyam Shivam Sundaram class, you can ping me personally for the same. Yeah, Kushakraji.
Sir, I just wanted to know that there was some discussion in the astrology group over there. I was unable to find the link, so I was
Yeah,
just
you
asking.
ping me personally once. I'll send you the orientation video, and then if you want to join, you can ping me for that.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right then. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you this Friday for the Shri Suktam lesson number 4.
Thank
Namaste.
you.
Yeah, thank you,
Namaste.
Linaji. Namaste.